Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be starting a new series called Bible Verses We Misuse. This is episode 1, and today we're going to be talking about specifically the Bible verse Philippians 4:13, which states, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Okay, now before we get into a few other verses before that to give it some context and to learn how to correctly use it, let's preface by beginning to discuss how do people typically use this verse, and how are people normally thinking when they quote this Bible verse? So I think I put something silly in the thumbnail, like a superhero or a muscle or something like that. And that's kind of the attitude that a lot of people will have when they are thinking about this verse. They'll hear this verse and they'll be encouraged. And it's not bad to be encouraged. Let me say, God's word is encouraging. Okay, but it's important that we are being encouraged for the right reasons, okay? Ultimately, we should be encouraged because of Jesus, because of our salvation in Jesus. But if we're being encouraged because we're being pumped or puffed up in our own self-abilities, that's not the Bible's intent. We're misunderstanding it. And that's sometimes what happens to this verse. People will hear that verse, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me," or some translations might say, "through Christ who gives me strength." And they'll think, "Oh, wow, yes, I can do it. I'm amazing. I can do all things." And they'll have this superhero mentality, this amazing, impenetrable person mentality. "I am indestructible. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm untouchable. I'm amazing. I can do all things." But that's completely the wrong idea so far as it goes with what Paul, the author of this verse, was talking about when he wrote it. Okay, so now with that said, let's dive into the verse, okay? I'm going to back up a couple verses. I'm going to go to Philippians 4, verse 10, and then read through 13. It says this: "But I rejoiced in the Lord greatly, that now at last your care for me has flourished again. Though you surely did care, but you lacked opportunity." Verse 11, "Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state I am to be content. I know how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Wherever and in all things, I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need." Now here's 13, the part that everyone always quotes: "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." So essentially, Paul's talking about this idea of whether things are good or whether things are bad, I can do all things because of Christ. Okay? He knows how to be content. He knows how to be abased. He knows how to abound, whether he's full or whether he's hungry. Okay, this whole verse is about contentment. It's not about thinking I am indestructible and amazing and I'm a superhero, but it's about thinking even when things are bad, it's okay because I have Christ. Okay, this is a super important lesson. Paul, this is the guy, one of the guys who in the Bible, he's a hero of the faith. Paul, he was in prison for a good chunk of his life, and he's telling these people, hey, whether things are terrible, whether things are great, whether I'm full in my belly or I'm completely hungry in my belly, it's okay still because of Christ. And I think that that's so much more encouraging of an approach than misunderstanding this verse and thinking, oh, I can do all things through Christ. And my mind is actually thinking, I am an amazing person. I can do it. And then I'm building up this false expectation in my mind because it's built on me, not built on God. And once I fail, or once the thing that I'm wanting to happen doesn't happen, then I get disappointed, or I get sad, or I get discouraged because I wasn't understanding this verse in the first place. I was thinking about me. I wasn't thinking about God. But this verse reminds me that whether things are good or bad, whether I'm full or I'm hungry, whether I'm abounding, I'm suffering, whatever is going on, it's going to be okay. I can do all these things. In other words, I can survive all these things. I can get through all these things because it's Christ who gives me strength. It's not myself. I'm not the strong one. Christ is the strong one. There's another verse that I'm reminded of right now. I think it's 1 Corinthians 18. I can't remember the exact reference, but it's basically the idea that in my weakness, Christ is made strong. And that's such an important thing because that's kind of what the Christian life, that's what the Christian life is all about. It's about dying to self so that Christ might live his life in us. That idea, I think, is found in 1 John. Oh, man, I'm sorry if it's not. I'll put it on the screen, the verse reference of that one as well that I'm thinking of. I'll put the first verse that I mentioned in 1 Corinthians, and I'll put the other one about Christ living his life in us as well, so that you can check those verses out yourself. But as you guys probably can tell at this point, and this is really one of the core values of this channel, I think it's so important that we understand the Bible the way it was meant to be understood, okay? So this is just the first video in the series of hopefully many more to come. It might be a little cheesy, but we're calling it, we're calling it Bible verses we misuse. So if you have any other verses that come to mind that you're thinking, oh, I would love to do, or I would love to discuss this verse, or man, I feel like people always use this verse one way, but I don't think that's the way it's meant to be used. Please drop it down in the comments. I would love to discuss those verses that you might be thinking of. And until next time, peace. God bless you guys, and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.